W420radionetwork.com.
Well, California is number one in cannabis sales of $3 billion of any entity in the world. Yet 80% of those funds go to the illegal black market. So what do we do about that? And we're joined now by Terra Carver, the co-founder and executive director of the Humboldt County Growers Alliance. So you are in the epicenter. You are in the Emerald Triangle where the best and the most beautiful cannabis is grown, yet it's harder and harder to make it fly because of the restrictions and the cumbersome bureaucracies and the like. But how's it going?
It's going. We're scrappy, and so our alliance is 3.5 years old. However, we have farmers and legacy producers that have been in the industry for over 60 years. So we're very proud of our heritage and our history. And, you know, this isn't the first time that we've had to overcome major hurdles. We've lived and survived the war on drugs, friction, controversy, and strain, I guess, is pretty familiar territory for us.
Yeah. So is it getting better with the cooperation among the growers in Humboldt and the state? Because it's all relatively new. I mean, it's only been 2 years in California. You are growing the finest cannabis in the world, yet you're kind of behind the eight ball.
Yeah, I think part of the reality of legalization is not only is our farmers having to become business people and start understanding all the complicated factors that go into running a business, but the state agencies also had to set themselves up. And so as they've been developing, we're all kind of building together. As a trade association, we've gone through this too. And so it's been a lot of growth for industry, trade associations, and the local and state government. I'm proud of the work we've done, though. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there, but I can actually say that Humboldt County's doing pretty well.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. But the restriction on, the dual licensing, you've got municipality license, you've got state licenses, then you've got excise taxes, you've got cultivation taxes. It seems like they keep setting up roadblocks, not they, the state has, and it makes it more cumbersome, more challenging for any entrepreneur, legacy growers or otherwise.
Yeah, just to tackle the local control piece, I think an important part of understanding why 80% of the jurisdictions are still banned is that the state of California has very strong local control protections. Interestingly enough, I think my job has probably been the easiest in the state because we have a very pro-regulation, pro-moving forward county, and we've gone through 2 land use ordinances, a tax measure. But what I'm finding is from our perspective, at least, you can't force locals to regulate this. Prohibition is very strong in the mind of policymakers still. That's an education piece that needs to be happen. But if the state goes to try to force locals to develop ordinances to allow for commercial activity with cannabis, locals will find a way to break it. You can develop an ordinance that has setbacks that don't allow for the actual businesses to find footing. The counties or cities can create tax measures that essentially become de facto bans. And so really it comes down to education and grassroots organizing. The people need to get involved. If they want to have legal, tested, clean cannabis and access, they need to demand that of their policymakers, or they need to get rid of their policymakers and elect new ones.
Right. Well, let's get right to it. The track and trace from seed to sale. That's a big part of the state program with legalized marijuana, because the testing is so important, especially with the vape crisis surging in the last year or so. So tell me about the encumbrances and the benefits of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you brought up testing. This is a piece that we're focusing on in Sacramento right now as we see the hemp industry working to regulate itself and the state working to regulate it, and testing comes up a lot. For Humboldt County, we are very proud of the fact that we pass testing, and that's a lot of that is due to the fact that we're not growing in industrial wastelands. Like, we did not have a pre-existing traditional agricultural commodity market that has a lot of pesticides and herbicides. We come from a pretty pristine place. And so for us, reaching those thresholds is not hard, and we're very, very proud of that. And we will fight very hard to keep those thresholds high, because at the end of the day, the consumer needs to have a product that is safe. And where the testing standards are right now, we believe that is what's being done.
Do you think the consumers are aware enough about the importance of the testing that the state requires? So you get certified California, authenticated, healthy cannabis versus a crapshoot on the open black market.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way that the testing standards are set, again, which we strongly support, our cannabis is safer than the organic food you're buying. And we think that this is progress, not only just for cannabis, but really for humanity. The trickle-down effect of having high thresholds means that those inputs aren't being put on our land either. So now our waterways are cleaner as the consumer gets a tested product. Testing's a big deal.
Yeah, and what about the sun-grown aspect of cannabis in Humboldt County, where the conditions are ideal? The warm days, the cool nights, the fog rolls in a little bit. It's sort of like the wine industry looking at growing the right grapes in the old vines in Napa and Sonoma counties. Are there analogies to that, and how important is it to have the sun grown in Humboldt versus the indoor, which, as I understand it, doesn't provide for the same quality?
Yeah, so indoor is a byproduct of prohibition. When the helicopters flew, people put plants inside. So I'll just leave that indoor conversation right there.
Okay.
But to the outdoor conversation and true full sun grown in native soil, the expression that we're seeing is of the product is undeniably better. I'm just going to say it, in my opinion.
Right.
Also, then provides the production method provides a option for a consumer to buy product that is the most environmentally sound product out there, meaning that the way we grow actually gives back to the environment instead of taking away, and that is through regenerative methods.
Well, it's great catching up with you. Terra Carver, the co-founder and executive director of the Humboldt County Growers Alliance. Best of luck to you. Rich Walcoff on the W420 Radio Network.
W420radionetwork.com.